listeners. Welcome to Plano's Political Pitbull Podcast. I am Esther.
And I'm Ruth.
And we are back from a long break. Took some time off, little summer break. And we have some Plano news for you. But first, our sponsor is Southwest Pain Management. Southwest Pain Management takes care of most chronic pain without pain pills. Their goal is to get you back to doing the things you love. They are also the world's leading long COVID experts. Dr. Groisman sees people from all over the world to treat their long COVID. Southwest Pain Management is in Plano. Please go to their website, reliefbeginshere.com. That's reliefbeginshere.com to see all that they do. So first up, we have an update on the Willow Bend redevelopment and the Stars hockey team coming. So on July 8th, the city had an open house. They will also have a virtual one that is basically a survey you can go to, and you go to the website plano.gov/Willow Bend District. That's plano.gov/Willow Bend District. And you fill out the survey. So I went to the live open house on July 8th, and it was not what I thought it was going to be. Not at all. I had a picture in my head that we were going to be in a room and they were going to have some presentations and we were going to be able to ask questions. That's not what happened. No. So the city took over an empty retail space in the mall, and they set up multiple stations with these fancy large posters about the topic that each station was going to address. So the stations were traffic, noise, lighting, parking, and neighborhood quality of life. And residents went to each station, and a city staffer was at each station to answer questions and listen to residents. And all the info on each topic was not created for this event. They had these large posters and handouts, and one would first think that they had created these just for the event. No, they have had these for years. When you actually read the info, it was very generic. It could have been for any project or any time, not this one. So there was nothing specific to the proposed development. The council did not prepare the staff because no one could answer simple questions that the residents had. Most of the answers were, we will study that, or we'll look into that, or we are still in the early stages. I was really quite shocked. I'm standing there listening to the residents ask questions like, well, how many parking spaces do you think you're going to need? Well, we're looking into that. We're going to research that. Hello? I can tell you right now, if the place they have now holds 20,000, you will need at least 10,000 parking spaces, which that mall does not currently have. It's got about 6. Are you going to build a ramp from Dallas North Tollway directly into the mall like they have at Buc-ee's? Well, we're not sure about that. I had a lot of those answers. The only guy who can answer any specific questions was the lighting guy, all right? And that's because they have a very strict lighting ordinance. And he was very informative. He knew a lot, and he could answer the questions we had. He was the only one. So the residents that I met there who were asking questions, they do not want this arena. A lot of them who came that I met live within walking distance of the Willow Bend. It's literally in their backyard. They're concerned about cut-throughs through their neighborhood. Obviously, they're concerned people are going to be parking on their streets. They're concerned about the increase in crime. Apparently, when these arenas, stadiums come in, crime goes up 10%. Was one statistic a lady had. By the way, there was nothing on crime or safety. There was no table on crime or safety, and a resident said that was one thing they needed. Like, because one would think that would be obvious.
They don't know what they're doing.
No, it was quite evident they do not know what they're doing. So, some of the residents, even though they don't like this, they had no idea about the countless studies that have been done for 50 years that say that the city always loses economically on these things. They also, some of them did not know about the tax increment reinvestment zone that the city council had made. And some of the residents were very skeptical that the city was even going to really listen to them and take their opinions to heart, which I was that was very disconcerting to me. Here these people came, took time out of their day. Maybe they, took off of work. Who knows? But they're saying, is this really going to matter? Is our input really going to matter?
Shocking.
I thought that was kind of sad, actually.
Well, it's sad, but it's nothing new.
Yeah, but it definitely shows that they've sort of lost the sense that they can do anything, that they will have any say in the matter, and they're the ones who pay the taxes. They're the ones who live here.
Well, gee, I wonder why they feel that way. Maybe because council hasn't listened to the residents in how many years?
Yeah. Yep. So I did find out two very important things that I had questions on. First, why is the zone so large and not just the mall property? That was one thing I could not understand. The mall is a problem. We got that, but not all 800 acres. And the answer was, would you care to have a guess what the answer was?
Money.
Yes, it's money. It's always about those Benjamins, folks. So if they made the zone only the mall property, which is about 100 acres, there would not be enough taxes collected to pay off the $700 million loan the city needs to build the arena. Second question I had. The eligibility requirements of the Texas code on the tax increment finance zone. I was wondering which requirement they were using to justify the 800 plus area of the zone. And the answer is number one that I got. Guy said it's number one. Now, to refresh your memories, for those who listened but may have forgotten, or for those who did not listen to our previous episodes on this topic, in the TIRZ, the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Code, there are 4 things that an area must have to become a TIRZ, or one of these 4 requirements. So I read each of the requirements on a previous episode, and none of them to me fit across the whole 800 to 900 acres. However, according to a staff member, they're using the eligibility requirement number 1. That one says the area must sustainably arrest or impairs the sound growth of the municipality, retard the provision of housing accommodations, or contributes an economic or social liability and is a menace to the public health, safety, morals, or welfare in its present condition.
What? I'm sorry, what?
You know what? You weren't here. Yes, Ruth had missed this episode. Yes. I'll read it again, okay? Requirement number 1 is The area must substantially arrest or impairs the sound growth of the municipality, retard the provision of housing accommodations, or constitutes an economic or social liability, and is a menace to the public health, safety, morals, or welfare in its present condition. I have the would you like to read it from the actual financial plan that the city put out?
Menace to the public health, safety, morals.
Mm-hmm. Right here.
Since when?
Yes.
Since when was this area a menace to public health and safety?
All 800 acres? Never. I mean, I don't.
Any of these 800 acres.
The Ferrari dealership is that we have doesn't even fit close to that. When those cars go for as much as houses, okay? I mean, a Ferrari goes for 200,000. I don't even know anymore. Last I heard it was 200,000 for a car, one car. We have an Audi dealership. We have a Porsche dealership. Remember, this zone, Ruth, goes from all the way from the Bush Turnpike all the way to Windhaven, okay? That's north to south. Goes from Midway to Parkwood, all right? There's like 2 open prop spaces there. You've got the Eatsies, you've got all of those stores, Kroger, the daycare center, the rehabilitation center, the apartments there.
The way this reads is not even like a non-developed rural area, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It reads like the area is a slum.
Yeah. That's what the area is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a slum. It's supposed to be, a...
Like it's one of those dangerous areas in downtown Dallas or something.
Sure.
What it sounds like to me.
Okay. I was going to say it sounds like it could be Harlem in the 80s.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But so that is the one that they're using, according to this staff member. Now, I could make an argument that maybe just the mall, but I wouldn't call the mall a menace or
it's just not doing well.
Health, concern.
Like, it was just one. I don't want to. Could you say one business? Because the mall has like a bunch of little bit of businesses.
Yeah.
In it, but just one entity that wasn't doing well.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a moral hazard. And remember, this is legal language. When you see the word "and," it means it has to have everything after that "and." So I would say the mall doesn't even fit this. The only part of this that I would say it fits is the mall is an economic problem.
But the area doesn't even just have the mall. It encompasses a huge area. So you're saying that entire area of Plano is an economic or social liability, which is just not true.
Yeah. And a menace.
That gets me.
A menace. Yes, the people.
Strong language.
The people who live there live near a menace, apparently. Just as an aside. So they tried to do something similar to this in Austin. They had a small problem area, and they made this TERS too big. And
it's way too big, all because of money. And then they're trying to say, oh, well, it's because we're using this complete lie as our excuse.
Yeah. So the same thing happened in Austin, but the Austin residents sued because they said that area does not qualify to be a tax increment investment zone.
Well, maybe the residents of Plano should sue.
And the residents of Austin won. And this is Austin. Oh. This is very, very blue Harris or Travis County. That just went right out of my head. I think it's Travis. Okay.
Plano should sue.
They could have a case, and
West
they could
Plano
say
needs to sue.
Yeah, the people could have a definite case, but obviously consult a lawyer. I am not one. So this is what Plano says. I think they're wrong. So a rep from the Stars was also at the open house, and according to him, the reason the team doesn't want to stay in Dallas is because Dallas does not want to work with them. No, he didn't say how they didn't want to work with them. He also didn't say how the city of Plano is working well with them. There was no details.
Because they're giving them everything they want.
Well, someone did ask, what do you mean? That Dallas doesn't want to give you money? Like how? He wouldn't say.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. When asked why the Stars could not use their own money to build an arena, he couldn't give a straight answer on that either.
What you did tell me this previously, and from what you told me, it sounded like he was like a deer in the headlights. Like, wait, you can do that? That's a thing?
Yeah, he just basically...
That's never been done before.
Actually, it has, years ago. And actually, there was one team who did build their own arena, and that arena is doing very well.
It's not standard practice, though. So
not anymore, no.
I don't even know if
Yeah.
the guy knew that was possible.
He basically, to sum up his answer, he basically just said that public-private partnerships have been used in the past. That was the summary of his answer.
Yeah, it's the standard.
Mm-hmm. Now, the developer was also there, or the owner of the mall, and he says that they need the Stars to anchor the district because Neiman's and Dillard's are now leaving. However, the Stars came sniffing around shortly after the zoning for the mall was changed the second time. And this was before Neiman's announced and Dillard's announced that they were going to close next year. The project, the original project, which did not have the Stars in it, had apartments. They don't need a sports arena as an anchor to lease the apartments they want to build. The arena would actually be a hindrance for the apartments because a lot of people are not going to want to rent an apartment that is next to an arena that is being built as a 24 7-day-a-week event place. Not everybody wants to live in that kind of a district.
Were you trying to say center?
Center, place, arena, whatever. The point is that that'll be a hindrance, not an anchor. Another thing I found out that I'm really angry about is the community theater, the North Texas Performing Arts, has to be out in 1 year. They have until next year. Originally, they were supposed to get a spot in the first irradiation of the redevelopment. They were supposed to get a spot next to Macy's. Now they're getting stabbed in the back. These folks, these owners of this theater, went and supported the first zoning change, spoke about it, spoke favorably about it, and now they're being told, get out.
Oh, do you want to tell them what happened of the last night during one of their shows?
Oh, sure. So the theater put on the musical 1776. We've talked about it, for the 250th birthday of America. And the last performance was the birthday of one of the founders of the community theater group. And council member Rick Horn was there. Downs was there.
That's it.
Just them. And they presented this woman who founded this theater group with a certificate or some kind of proclamation.
Just like, you know.
It's like it was, it was, you know, so-and-so's day. They made a day for her of recognition. Yeah. Said how much great things she's done for our community and how much, you know, wonderful, you know, arts that the theater has brought and culture and all of this BS. Meanwhile,
I mean, the things they were saying weren't BS, but it was BS to them because they were talking
out of both sides of their mouths.
Yeah, that's it.
Because on the one hand, they're like, oh, this theater group has been so wonderful and so lovely, and
then we're kicking you out.
And we're kicking you out. But we the city are getting a 6,500 square foot visitor center on this property, and you're getting nothing. But great job for all your years of dedicated work.
Now get out.
Now, yeah, exactly. So the only thing the developer would say when asked, where's the theater going to go? Why isn't the theater there anymore? Is he cannot work out a deal with them. No details. And also, the timeline is just like wrong.
Timeline is wrong?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I have no earthly clue. I was, you know, I wasn't going to push. When somebody is being evasive, you kind of know it, and they're not going to tell you what they don't want to tell you. So, I mean, I'm sure there's sort of an insider's thing. The theater gets a discount on their rent. I'm going to speculate here. This is pure speculation. I only have a little bit of evidence from what I heard the second time the mall people came around to rezone what they had just rezoned. So if you remember, they came, they rezoned the mall, and then they came back again because they wanted to add single family. So they had to rezone for single family as well. By the way, single family is now gone. That's out. No more single family. All right?
Yeah, what single family would want to live right next to an arena?
Exactly. So...
Oh, wait, there's already single family homes next to the arena.
Well, this would have been on the same property.
I know, it'd be even closer.
It'd be even closer. So, when they came back that second time, Macy's had just announced that they were closing. That was the other, so they had to kind of move things around. And where Macy's was, they were going to tear down Macy's and build an apartment building in the second adaptation or plans. Well, now the theater group is like, hello, where are we supposed to go? Are we going to go next to the apartment building? Like, where are we supposed to go? And what the owners of the mall had said at that time was, if I remember correctly, was basically that right now they are getting a huge discount in rent that basically let me translate. It's not profitable for them to have the theater there at the price the theater can pay for the rent. Again, it comes down to dollars and cents. The theater is a nonprofit. They give the actors nothing, okay? All of this is voluntary. The actors have to pay a fee if they want to do a play. They have to pay for their own mics. They've got to pay for their own costumes. They don't get anything at all in compensation, obviously. I don't even know if the director gets paid. This is a nonprofit. The city gives them money. They have sponsors. But, I think at this point they're paying for the overhead. And that's it. So they're not going to be profitable for a person to rent to them. The mall is renting to them at a sizable discount. And that's why I think they don't want a space for them. Because they're not going to generate the revenue that the owner wants or needs, perhaps. But that is my speculation. So, interestingly, the school district of Plano has now gotten involved in the TIRZ, in the tax increment reinvestment zone. The Plano School Board voted to give 50% of the increased property taxes from the zone to the zone's fund.
Are you kidding me?
No, I am not kidding you. I read that in Community Impact.
This is why public schools are failing.
So, I'll give you an example. Let's say the Kroger property, right? They get a property tax increase from the school district of $200 next year. $100 will go to the school district and $100 will go to the TIRZ fund. Not the students, not the teachers, but a fund to pay off a $700 million loan for a hockey arena. Now, why in the world would the school board be doing this?
It has nothing to do with them. Why are they doing it? Like, what does a hockey arena have to do with the school district?
Well, the school district, in one of their reasons, said that they could use the arena for graduation ceremonies.
Oh, brother.
Right now, they go to the Stars. The Cowboy facility, the Dallas Cowboy facility up in Frisco for their graduations. They don't, apparently they have no room in all of Plano to hold a graduation.
Too many kids.
Yeah, well, not for long. I have no idea how in the world this is legal. And I want to know, do they honestly think that they're not going to have to pay a fee to use the arena? Like, and if they're waiving the fee, I guarantee you the once-a-year fee to hold a graduation ceremony there is going to be a heck of a lot less than the 50% in property tax money.
It's not even barely going to the students.
No.
They claim it's for our graduation ceremonies for the students. But, like, what's more important? a graduation a facility closer for you to have your graduations, or improved education for the students?
I don't know. See, when I graduated my high school, I realized we were not in Texas. But when I graduated high school, the graduation ceremony was out on the football field. And Lord knows there's enough room out on that football stadium, on all those football stadiums. However, my class, when I graduated, we had to hold it in our gymnasium because it rained. We were one of the first classes in decades where it rained on our graduation, so we had to hold it inside.
Oh, I heard about a school. It was not in Texas. It was in a different state, but it rained on graduation day, and they were supposed to have it outside, and they still held it outside in pouring rain, and they essentially forced students to be there. They were like, you will not get your diploma if you are not there.
Could they hold umbrellas?
No. But the staff sure did.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, a huge chunk of the kids got pneumonia.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Stand out there in the pouring, it was pouring rain for hours.
You couldn't have just held it the next day?
Nope. It was going to be at that day, and if you did not attend, you would not get your diploma.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's why it was on the news.
They couldn't have put up a tent? Anything?
They didn't.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Oh, fun fact. All right. So I have no idea why this is legal at all for the school district to do. Giving property tax money from the school district that's supposed to go to educate children, but instead it's going to give an organization that's worth billions of dollars its money, our money, to not educate children, but to pay for a hockey arena. I tell you, if parents are not up in arms about this, I'd be shocked. I'll be shocked. Because that money is supposed to be for educating students. And if that is not currently a law, it needs to be a law. That you cannot just give school taxpayer money over to something that is not directly going to educate the kids or pay teachers or maintenance or anything related to the school district. So please talk to your legislatures about changing that law. And I'd like to know, where is the teachers union? They should be livid about this, because the teachers are always complaining they don't get paid enough. So if the school district says, sorry, we don't have money for your raises, or sorry, we don't have money to buy you supplies for your classroom, tell them, you have enough money to give to the stars to pay for a hockey arena that we do not need. Folks, talk to your neighbors about this and your state reps. And remember, there is another open house today, July 14th, 6 to 8, and the virtual survey for plano.gov/Willow Bend District. Now, we are going to start doing some episodes on the Commissioner's Court race, place 4, soon. We have 2 former city council members running against each other, Shelby Williams and Julie Holmer.
Bum, bum, bum.
And like I said, when we were going through the primaries, this is something that's really never happened to us before, where we have people who we've watched for many years. They sat on council. We know how they worked for the people. We have their record because we wrote it down, because we take notes here when we watch our council meetings. So we know how they voted on items. And it puts us in a unique situation where we can really evaluate each person side by side. So we're going to be going over each person's record and informing you. Maybe there are some of you who do live in District 4. You don't know how they were on council. So we're going to give you their record. And we have been watching their campaigns. And I have a little funny antidote for you. So,
you mean anecdote?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said antidote.
I beg your pardon. Sorry. A funny story for you. So, I watch their Facebook posts, both Shelby and Julie's. And yesterday, I saw a post from Julie Holmer. And she said the following: "What's the long-term jail plan? On today's Commissioner's Court agenda, the Sheriff's Office is requesting another $504,994 to house approximately 75 Collin County inmates in other counties through September. This is not the first request this year. As these costs continue to grow, taxpayers deserve a clear, measurable, long-term strategy, not repeated short-term funding requests. Growth is certainly part of the challenge, but 2 questions need to be answered. How much of the county's inability to house these inmates locally is due to the limited jail capacity, and how much is the result of detention officer vacancies?" So, I saw this, and I thought to myself, she says growth is certainly part of the challenge. What she failed to mention was that growth was part of her doing, because this woman approved thousands of apartments during her time on council. I will go back and double check this, but I don't think there was an apartment complex she did not approve of during her time on council.
It'd be a shock to me.
Yeah. So, Ms. Holmer, if you're going to complain about growth, you need to start pointing the fingers right at yourself. All right? And this is something that we have done in the past. You're at capacity because crime, more people, more crime. All right, that's just part of the problem when you grow your population. So we have more inmates in the jail.
Yep, you got more people, you got more problems.
Yes. So they have to ask neighboring counties who have room in their jail to house the inmates. And the counties are not going to do this out of the goodness of their heart. Okay? They're going to want to get paid. $500,000 for 75 inmates seems like an awful lot of money per inmate, but room and board is expensive. Jail capacity is about beds. It is not about detention officers. Now, obviously, if there aren't enough detention officers, you do run into a problem, and yeah, you may have to send your inmates somewhere else. But yes, our jail is out of room. It has been a problem, and she wants to know what we have to have a long-term plan. Well, Julie.
Does she have a long-term plan? Did she ever say what that was in that post, or did she just complain?
No, she just complained. She wanted to know what the long-term plan was. Well, Julie, see, dear, if you had done any homework for the seat you are trying to win, you would know that right now they are building an addition onto the jail. They are going to make the jail bigger. That's the plan.
She missed that.
Yeah. When I found that out, but first of all, I admit I forgot. I knew, yes, I realized I did hear that they needed a bigger jail and they were going to build more, another wing. They're actually going to build also a mental health wing too. I had forgotten because it had been a while and my brain is not what it used to be, folks. Getting old. So I had forgotten, but I'm not running for commissioner's court. She is. She should know this. So when I had heard that she didn't know that, I literally fell on the floor laughing. I found this very hysterical. It's Rick Grady all over again. Do you do any research at all? You should know your stuff. You should know about the entity you are running for before you run. And you should be watching their meetings and you should be reading their agendas. I will say Shelby does know that we are building a addition to the jail. Perhaps he could give her a tour of the site. So we're going to be doing some comparisons of our two candidates in the future. We will start in August. It'll be a long-term series because obviously November is, while it is right around the corner, like me, memories are short. So, on to our very important doggy. Poor Thor is still up for adoption.
Poor guy can't catch a break.
No, he cannot.
You can do it.
Okay, I will read on Thor. So, Thor is a friendly boy who is about 2 years of age, is very playful with children. He is active when he plays, so may be best in a home without young children. Thor was very excited for his first pups in the park walk. He had a lot of energy as he left his kennel, but settled down quickly. He was very patient while being harnessed in the lobby of the shelter. and loaded into the car without issue. Thor rode well in the car and was very relaxed. He walked well on leash and got along well with all the other dogs in the group. Thor exhibited no prey drive while encountering birds and squirrels along the walk. So if you would like to find out about Thor, please go to our website, Plano's Political Pitbull Pod. Not podcast. What am I saying? Excuse me. Please go to our website, www.planospoliticalpitbull.com. Click on the link Pit Bulls for Adoption to see all about adorable Thor. That is all for today, folks. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This is Esther.
And this is Ruth.
For Plano's Political Pitbull, signing off.